What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Salami squad around the world? The meat pack is back in the building. I am your host, Michael Rogers. Got Mike Richman in the cut. Say what's up, my boy.
What's up, my guy? Feels
Yes,
back
sir.
up in this piece of January 5th on him.
January 5th on them, 2021. Hope everyone had an awesome Christmas. Hope everyone had an awesome New Year's 2021. New year, new me, son. So you know what I'm saying. But like I said, I hope everyone had a good little couple weeks there. Last time we were on. With all this being said, though, in 4 now, actually. It's actually your boy's birthday, January 9th. We got NFL playoff football, son. It is hype city around these parts. We've had some basketball that's been going on the past couple weeks. That's exciting to see. But today's show, we about to get in some of that football action. We just had week 17 go down. This was the last one. Like I said, the next football we're going to see is going to be playoffs. This is when that shit matters. This is when good becomes great. Hopefully come home with one of them ring pieces, son. Get a little ring pop when your finger added to the resume. So, all right, man, let's just jump right into them here. Week 17 of 17. The first matchup we're going to talk about is the Vikings and the Lions. Vikings squeaking that one over. Didn't expect the score to get run up like that during that game. You know, just two kind of mediocre football teams all year. And I look at this as a big win for the Vikings, obviously, and I think the Vikings got a lot of good stuff to take away from this season. That boy Justin Jefferson, I think
Rookie of the year, without doubt.
Over Herbert, though, that's my only
So
thing.
yeah, it's understandable. It most likely will go to Herbert because of that, just because he's a QB and like you run shit when you're a quarterback. This is kind of how it is in the NFL. Like you're that dude, and Justin Herbert is that dude.
He's
But
good.
you take away from that QB spot, no one else is even close to this man, Justin Jefferson. He's breaking all sorts of records in Minnesota that were set by Randy Moss. Like this boy just out here, brother. Oh my God. Huge shout out to Justin Jefferson. But I mean, this, like you said, I mean, this was just kind of a mediocre game that ended up being 37-35. It's ridiculous.
We're kind of ridiculous.
Another Kirk Cousins 7-9 season. So got to figure that out. I think a huge issue for this Vikings team is their kicker, man. Dan Bailey has been so consistent for so many years. And read this stat right here. In the last 5 games, he's missed 10 kicks, including field goals and extra points. And it's like
that's what you get paid to do.
That's some shit you get cut for being a kicker. It's pretty cut and dry. Like you get thrown a couple bones, but he's just not having it. But I mean, looking at positives for them during this game, they sat Dalvin Cook and still rushed for 214 with James Madison. It's not James Madison, that's a president, but Madison and Boone,
some 1800
still out there like running hard. So that's hype. Vikings finished the season 5-11. Salute to our boy. We'll see you somewhere else, Matty Stafford. Almost 90% sure he's going to get traded somewhere in free agency, and honestly deserves better.
No, I mean, he does deserve better. I mean, he's had but if you take winning away from everything, I mean, numbers-wise, Matt Stafford's had a really great career, I'd say. Hall of Fame type discussion, nah, I don't really think so. He's a very,
but I think
very
that's
good
only because of his situation. You put him somewhere else, he's like.
Well, I think it's a little too late for that. He's had a bunch of injuries and whatnot, so I don't think him ever getting that much better. I don't really see, but I definitely see him in a new situation. I think Detroit just has hit the reset button on that whole thing. I obviously, or I think that Detroit actually tries to move up into the draft and potentially get one of these quarterbacks that are coming out. Because, like I said, I think they're just ready to move on. They got a lot of stuff to figure out because. He's got good. I feel like Detroit's got good weapons. They always have a decent defense. Just nothing ever equivalates to wins, and it's been that way pretty much his whole career. Matt Stafford, he's never won a playoff game and whatnot, and they've had good years.
I'm telling you right now,
that's
that Megatron curse. I'm telling you, they did him so dirty, Mr. Calvin Johnson, on the way out of his career.
That, man.
I mean, they just got some years of mediocrity out of that.
They did. Yeah, no, they really did. And moving forward, I think they just need to start over. Like I said, take a season or two to be 1-15 or 2-14 instead of just being 6-10 and 7-9 all the time. Just be bad and Look to just make another move. Like I said, I think the Vikings, that's more or less just the Kirk Cousins package as a whole. You're going to be 7-9 or 9-7. It's not really going to get worse than that. I don't feel like it's going to get really better than that. But like I said, they got some good takeaways. Dalvin Cook is that dude. Justin Jefferson is that dude. So I think Vikings be on the up and up. I don't think it'll be this bad next season. They just got some shit to figure out. Next game we're going to talk about though is Tampa Bay TB12 and the gang bussing up Atlanta Falcons. Tom Brady just bussing up Matt Ryan and friends, and you know what I mean. It's the Falcons, so it kind of is what it is. And the Bucks, we've had a back and forth all year kind of about what they're about, who we think they are as a football team. And it's just right now, to me, this is the biggest team, I think, just because of being Tom Brady and having Bruce Arians. I mean, those two dudes have a lot of playoff experience, which I think counts for something. But this is the biggest team, I'd say, that now we're in the playoffs. I think I'm not looking back on anything. Tom Brady, I think, is one of just a player you'd never want to bet against. I mean, he's just proven it year after year. Like I said, he's 43 and whatnot, but I think he had a nice career, or not a nice career, a nice year, 43 touchdowns at 43 years old. I mean, he looked impressive. He obviously had a bunch of weapons, and that defense at times showed flashes of being absolutely phenomenal. So they got a nice win over Matt Ryan, division round or whatnot, and got themselves into the playoffs. And, one of the stories coming out of this was obviously Washington squeaking in, and then a story going now is Chase Young saying, we want Tom Brady. I'm ready for Tom Brady and whatnot. And should he have said that? Maybe not, bro. Tom Brady might just carve that ass up. But the only thing I do see with this Washington matchup they have coming up is, Washington's front seven might be the best in football. It is low-key kind of scary. They got some beasts up there in the front, and Tom Brady usually does tend to struggle with that kind of defensive scheme. But I just think Tampa Bay's defense will eat up anything Washington's offense has to offer. So like I said, going into the playoffs, I got the slate clean with Tampa. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just putting my trust in Tom Brady and some veteran coaching from Bruce Arians. I think they can win a playoff game or two.
For sure. And this was the team we've been kind of on and off all year. They've been really just brought in like a super team. They took all these pieces, said, let's just make a run for it. And they're starting to get hot at the right time, brother. These past 3 weeks, they've just been lighting teams up. I mean, it is the Falcons. They scored 44 points on. Take that how you will. And, people have said it before, but the way to beat a high offensive power team like this is to get to the quarterback, to get to Tom Brady. So that's what Washington does well. But
pressure.
That's the only thing they do well, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, that boy J.D. McKissick out there, I like him in the backfield. But, I mean, they just honestly do not have a lot of firepower on their offense. So, they're going to do their best to keep it a low-scoring game. But that boy TB12 is an assassin, and you have to give him his credit. He did the thing. What was the storyline at the beginning of this season? Like, oh, he's not going to be shit. He's not playing for the Patriots, et cetera. And he collectively himself had a better season than anyone on the Patriots.
Yeah.
So shout out to Tom Brady for doing that, getting it done. Shout out to Tampa Bay, getting their dudes bonuses at the end of that game, getting those shovel passes to AB.
AB, dude, get that $250,000 real quick.
Those are things in your contract, and sometimes you see teams do other things, shy away from it, like we want to save you for the playoffs, but helping their players get that bag, it's got to feel good in the locker room, got to feel great. But they're gonna play Washington, bro. Like that's gotta feel good for them.
Like you say, one of the things with Tampa is they have lost. I think they're 1-5 this year against teams that made the playoffs, which I understand that argument. But come playoff time, like you said, they're hot at the right time, and I'll take Tom Brady over your quarterback any day of the week. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick shout out to that boy Alex Smith. We said this earlier in the season, bro. Clearly going to get the comeback player of the year, but it's been through 14 surgeries. Dude's playing with his hamstring on his leg right now. This shit's just mix and match. They're taking the ligaments from here, putting them over here.
Ass meat in his fucking femur. And
he's out here throwing touchdowns in the NFL after all that. It's absolutely amazing. Would not be surprised to see an award name change.
I do see that. Let's get the Alex Smith Comeback Player of the Year award. Make it happen. That boy Hey man, nothing but props, respect on Alex Smith's name. So that is dope to see. I don't know if he'll be back there next year. Probably not. But
No, no.
we'll see what happens going forward. Next game we want to talk about is my New York Jets losing to the New England Patriots, and the New York Jets' future is sealed for right now. We're guaranteed the number 2 pick in the draft, and I see a lot of people. Big discussion going on right now of what's going to happen with Sam Darnold. Do we keep him and build around him? Which I'm now bought into the idea, and I know a lot of people, especially the big win over Clemson that Ohio State just had, are very, very high on Justin Fields. I'm still not all the way. I like Darnold over Fields. Justin Fields is a very nice player. And do I think he could break this kind of curse that's been happening with Ohio State quarterbacks? He might be the one. He does look really good. But just, I don't know. We're going to see Saturday what happens in the national championship against him in Alabama. I think we'll get a lot more, some decision making based off the performance he has in that game. But, I feel like that's what the Jets are going to do for some reason. That's what I feel like they're going to do. They're going to go ahead and get Fields, possibly Zach Wilson. When I just don't really think that's the move that right now. I could understand, this is Joe Douglas's second year being the GM. And last year he kind of nailed it with the draft, getting Mekhi Becton at left tackle. That dude could be a Pro Bowler as a rookie. Denzel Mims was good when he was on the field. Like Ashton Davis, the safety. They got some good players in last year's draft, so we'll give them props. And I could see, depending on it's going to depend on the head coach situation, really. If a head coach can come into New York and think, I could win football games with Sam Darnold, then I think with that number 2 pick, you go get the Sewell kid from Oregon, left tackle that looks phenomenal, or you can trade back. We talked earlier about the teams like Detroit that could possibly move up. I could see Atlanta moving up to number 2. Justin Fields is from Atlanta, and obviously they're going to bring in a new GM and head coach. They'd probably want a guy that's their own. They could possibly bring that in to sit behind Matt Ryan for a year. So, I don't know what's going on. New York Jets fans, like I said, it's been a lot of back and forth. I say you just stick with Darnold. But I could see if you want to draft a quarterback, that kind of resets the whole time for everything. It gives your head coach maybe a player he wants and buys you more time, 3 or 4 years to figure some stuff out. Like I said, if you maybe trade Darnold or you trade the second pick, you're going to get assets either way. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Sam Darnold. On the other end of things, I could even, I don't know what the New England Patriots do going forward, whether or not they get a quarterback. They run it back with Newton. I don't really know what's going on. I'm just kind of worried about my Jets right now, and I really feel like they go and get Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. And I understand it completely. Like I said, I wouldn't be crazy upset. I just think, maybe we could try to run it back with Darnold for a year. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's not crazy to say, but I just feel the complete opposite way. They're 100% going to take Justin Fields. I think the time with Darnold is over, and they're just going to want a new reset. Like you said, they're going to obviously have a new coach brought in there with Adam Gase officially being fired right after the season ended. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of a mess. But you're going to hear me say this a couple different times on this show here. And going into next year, to be a successful team, you have to have your quarterback and you have to have your line figured out on both sides of the ball. If you have your QB and both lines figured out, the rest is just going to fall into place. That's the most important positions to figure out in your draft, in your offseason. And like you said, I mean, these Jets already got a couple guys on their line. Obviously need more. The Patriots are 15th pick in the draft here, so everyone's going to be gone. The first round is going to be all quarterbacks, basically a couple receivers, couple linemen. But by the time the 15th pick comes, they're not going to be able to get the quarterback that they want, whoever it may be in that draft class. So they're going to have to go the free agent route. I think I do not see them sticking it, running it back with Cam. He had such a shit season. I mean, his under-over every week was like 180 yards. Like, that is not, especially in like 2020 football, it's just not getting the job done at all. Nah. So, I mean, that's just shit. But both these teams have to have a very successful offseason to be contenders next year. I mean, Patriots pulled it out 7-9 here. Really did not think that was going to happen, but I mean, these teams they just got to work on some shit. Everyone does. But yeah, no, Justin Fields, number 2 overall pick. He's gone, bro. He's out of there. And he might not be Trevor Lawrence, but I think he's legit, bro.
Well, I think he does go number 2, but I'm just saying I don't know if that is for the Jets. I think the Jets' whole thing is just going to depend on what the head coach wants, and I still think it's an attractive a place for a coach to go is, like I said, you have a decision you have to make at quarterback.
For
You
sure.
have a ton of money and cap space, and you do have some young guys you could go with. And Joe Douglas does seem like a competent GM. I'm not mad at really anything he's done so far. So it's like I do think Justin Fields does go number 2. I'm just not quite sure if the Jets, like I said, probably they just seem like they're going to make that move. That feels like a New York Jets thing. And like I said, I don't not like Justin Fields. It just to me it was Trevor Lawrence or we run it back with Darnold. But I don't know. We'll see what's going to go on. I'm so anxious to see how this offseason plays for the Jets and see what's going on this time next year. Next game we're going to talk about is the other 2 teams in that division. These are all division games, so I mean, but that is Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, man, to me right now, just 1-2 top team in football right now. They just look clean. Dolphins kind of got that ass spanked a little bit, dude. Don't know what's going on.
Against the defense we've been raving about all year. Yeah. Josh Allen went out there, put up 56
on them. Just impressive across the board. Antonio Williams getting a couple rushing tugs. And, I know a lot of people right now are sitting here and think Josh Allen needs to be in that MVP
he should
discussion.
Be, bro.
And I think he is. He is in that discussion for sure. Does he win it? No, I think that's sealed with the boy AR-12 there in Green Bay. But Josh Allen had a phenomenal season. This is his 3rd year in the league, so and he's getting better each year. So is this maybe a peak for him? I don't know. But the Bills got a solid team, great coaching. Like I said, a defense that plays really good when it has to. Definitely inconsistent the first 3 quarters of the game, but when they really need to, that defense can play good. And, on the other side of things, hey, listen, I think Dolphins are going to be all right. I think this was a win of a season for the Dolphins for sure. Like I said, and the only thing I still am evaluating this quarterback position for the Dolphins. I said super early on in the year that I wouldn't be surprised if this was low-key a test run for Tua, and if they weren't 100% impressed by what they saw, I don't think they'd be afraid to move off of him. But I'm not sure what they do because I think he does and he can win football games. I don't know what you do with Fitzpatrick at this point. Like I said, I think Dolphins got everything figured out. They got young players that are going to get better next year, and they got a good mix of veteran guys and good coaching to where they're going to be solid. This might be Miami and Buffalo's division, a little back and forth they have for the next, however many years they want to. But Bills look all right. Are they a Super Bowl team? I don't think so, but that's an AFC Championship team. I 100% think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. I mean, imagine being the Dolphins going 10-6 and not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like that's brutal, bro. I mean, they deserve to be there. They're just not. I'm not sold on Tua, and I'm pretty sure he's out of there. I don't know if he's out of there, but I don't think he's starting. I think Fitzmagic is going to get picked up in this insane QB free agency we're going to see in this offseason. I think he's out of there. He's worth a bunch. Like Fitzmagic can go into pretty much any situation and just do what he needs to do. And he's going to do that for another team.
He's going to win you a couple games.
That's what I'm saying. And this Miami team is going to draft another quarterback. I'm telling you, I don't know who it is, but they're going to draft another quarterback. I mean, at the beginning of the year, if I were to say to you that Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert would show more promise than Tua, you'd shoot me in the brain. You'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But I mean, that's true. I mean, Tua.
I don't know about Hurts though.
I mean, smaller sample size, obviously, but if we're just looking at production, Jalen Hurts has way more production than Tua, and you can't deny that. But I don't know. It's just crazy. We got to talk about this Josh Allen a little bit more. You touched on it a little bit, but we have never seen a QB develop so well in his 3rd year. Like whoever that QB coach is over in Buffalo, their offensive coordinator, they figured this man out, bro. I mean, his whole big thing his first 2 years, the problems with him was not his power, not his size, not his speed. It was his accuracy. Just couldn't get it together. He was just missing throws he shouldn't. And this year I think his QB percentage is like top 3 in the league. He's out here just completing every pass, hucking it down the field, making the short, quick throws when he has to. He's doing everything. This third year for Josh Allen is unbelievable. Like, honestly, he's playing so great. And he is in the MVP conversation, but as I said earlier in the year, Aaron Rodgers got it, bro.
No,
Easy lock. And then just another special shout out, Stephon Diggs having a breakout career year. I mean, he had that ugly breakup in Minnesota. People were talking, we're not sure if he could be, wide receiver 1. Came out, dropped 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, and probably had about 80% of the targets all year. I mean, Cole Beasley did some work as well, but Stephon Diggs is that dude in Buffalo.
He is, man. And Josh Allen reminds me of a more athletic kind of Big Ben dude, just big body guy that will throw himself at you. And like I said, just kind of came down to the accuracy. And one of the biggest things I think I talked about maybe a month or so ago was you look at the Bills organization compared to another team in their division like my Jets that drafted a quarterback at the same time, same draft. But Buffalo just saying we're going all in on fitting the right pieces around this kid, something other teams that are in that situation kind of failed to do, and they've just taken complete advantage of it. So I like Buffalo going forward, dude. I think they meet up with Kansas City in a champ game. We'll see how that works going forward. And, on the other side, like I said, I think Miami's going to be all right. Quarterback, like I said, that's not the worst take in the world. I'm kind of with you to a degree on what you said. So we'll see what happens going forward. I think that everything else on that roster is nice, but
not hating on Miami at all. Like they got a squad, but in the NFL, this year and even last year, if you don't have a breakout year, your first year as a quarterback, you're probably not going to stay in that situation. You're not going to keep getting started.
That's what I'm saying. I think
people need to see success now. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Tua is going to be bad. I think in the future he's going to be great, but he's just still young. He needs more time to develop. I don't think he's going to see starts, whether it is at Miami or somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't know. That'll be an interesting one to look out for. But we're going to move on to the next game, and that is Cleveland Browns beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm not even going to front, dude. I've definitely been high on the Browns all year, but these might be the 2 worst teams that are in the playoffs this year. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people disagree with that. The Steelers are in such a weird position. They went 11-0, and were obviously, like I said, a lot of those wins I saw a lot of people taking the credit away from weren't exactly the prettiest wins, but 1-3 in the last 4, and just kind of not looking good. And my only thing with the Browns is they should have won that game and they barely did, and that's kind of been their story all year, just winning ugly, and when they lose ugly. And I look at the Browns situation kind of the same thing as Miami. I think this season, whether they win a playoff game or not, was a win. I know fans in Cleveland are ecstatic, first time making the playoffs. The Browns have something to play for. I think they're just scratching the surface too. We get into this second year with Baker and Stefanski, and more footage for this team, and obviously having the dynamic running back core they have. Young, they have the best offensive line in all of football. Are a little weak on some defensive side. I think their secondary is not good at all, but they can mask that pretty good with some of the schemes they run. But like I said, I don't think the Browns go ahead and win a playoff game. I just don't think. To me, the Browns it's a weird thing, man. They're a loud football team, and last year I think was the year everyone expected this kind of season. And they did finally pop this year. Which is well deserved. I respect it. They play hard, man. It was fun to watch the Browns this year. I just don't think it's ready over there in Cleveland yet. And kind of same thing with the Steelers. I think the Steelers, man, that was just a smoke screen of a season. I feel like I just don't really think that's a good football team. Just have not been able to establish a run game all year. Big Ben has had some weeks where he's looked phenomenal, and just some other ones. Obviously, Mason Rudolph got the start one. Now they want to preserve Big Ben. My only thing with the Steelers where I give them the edge is, hey, we get in the playoff times. It's kind of the same thing I said about Brady. I'm looking at quarterback and coaching. Guys that have been in those positions their whole career, a couple rings together. Playoff Steelers football is a different atmosphere, and maybe come around next week they figure some shit out and could sneak a dub.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see. Whoa, whole bunch of eyes there.
Whole bunch of I won't.
But just the opposite of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Steelers are doing the opposite thing. They're hot all season. They played through such crazy adversity. Every opponent they had to play had crazy COVID run-ups, changing their schedule, changing their buys, changing everything, all because of the other team. And they dealt with all of it, went 12-4, but they got, 5 4 losses out of the last 5 games of the season is really not a good way to go into the playoffs. And, their bye was mixed in there. They had all that bullshit with Juju dancing and people getting pissed, having to have a team meeting, player only meeting. You know what I mean? It's like you just don't need that bullshit getting ready to go into the playoffs. So I'm not all the way sold on them. But, I mean, the Browns won this game, allowing themselves into the playoffs. And in this wild card weekend, it's a rematch right against Steelers-Browns. And, I don't think the Browns win this game with Big Ben in there. And like you said, they're on full blast like that. But you got to give them their respect here, dude. This is the first time they made the playoffs since 2002.
Shout out, bro.
Okay, so, I mean, that's ridiculous. Great for them. Like you said, that run game is one of the best in the league. Honestly, it really is. So, shout out to Browns. But I think this is going to be not such a close game, next week.
No, I 100% agree. The fact that it was 24-22 without Big Ben, like I said, I think they figure it out next week, and we see just better quarterback play, better coaching.
But I wouldn't be surprised seeing it go the other way. They play a week without Big Ben. Everything's not in sync. Steelers play a shit game. Browns get the dub, sneak it out. That's what they've kind of been. They've been sneaking W's all year, and they fought their way into the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised, but like I said, I don't think either one of these teams will win the second round of the playoffs, no matter whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. I know what one thing looks like is the next game, the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. That look like some dog shit. You know what I'm saying? I've been high on the Giants all year, and they did get a win, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what the Giants can pull off next year. But just two just bad football teams. You know what I'm saying? Just not good this year. Shitty division. I don't give a fuck about that game, dude.
Yeah.
Like we're talking 23-19 Giants.
Nobody cares. Nobody watched. But got to give a shout out to Andy Dalton. He had a rough season. He even had COVID. Was out for 3 weeks. Came in and out with injuries as well, and still did a decent job for the Cowboys. I'm not gonna say he did a good job. Whatever he did, decent, bro. He did what he had to do, for sure.
It's been kind of Andy Dalton's MO. His kind of career.
Yeah. For sure. And, it held up to it. So good for him there, whatever. But fuck the Cowboys. And also, fuck Daniel Jones, dude. He's so not good. Like, he's so bad. And that all comes down to one thing, and it's holding on to the ball. The turnovers with Daniel Jones in his first 2 years. He has 22 interceptions and 25 fumbles. And those are only the fumbles given up. There's been other times that Giants recovered it and they got, what didn't count as a fumble, but that's disgusting, dude. I mean, they gotta figure out the rock. Like, get this dude some stickums. Let's put some gloves on his hand. Give him a try, maybe. I don't know.
That's my thing too. And I thought about, did the Giants go for and look for a quarterback? And the only reason I say no is because that's your GM essentially admitting we failed with Daniel Jones.
No,
which
I think they run it back
but
sure. I think another huge problem that they have is obviously their offensive line. They have Saquon and Wayne Gallman, which is a crazy 1-2 combo. Hopefully Saquon will be healthy going into next year. But the other problem is that receiving core. They have Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, and none of them feel like a wide receiver one. I mean, this is just kind of a sorry-ass offense, bro. They got no weapons. I mean, Saquon, you stay hopeful for. And like I said, with Wayne Gallman, he showed some promise this season for sure. But
for sure,
they have much larger problems besides Daniel Jones's turnover rate. Like it's
just like, dude, he's showing flashes. He can pull some shit off, but it's like, brother, you gotta hold on to the football, dog. Like, I don't know what's going on with those hands, but I don't know, dude. I'm ready to move off this game. We're going to talk about the next one as the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals. Kind of another one, dude. Ravens have kind of found themselves, I think, again, in these past 4 or 5 weeks and whatnot. They look good, and, I'm kind of buying some stock back on them to possibly make a run. But, whooping on the Bengals, I wouldn't say much. The Bengals season was a wash pretty much the whole year. We knew they weren't going to be good, and like I said, first half of the season, it was kind of surprising to see Baltimore kind of having the season they were, but I think they're back now. I think we're good, and I got to look at what the playoff picture looks like, but I think they could beat most teams potentially they match up. But they're the only team in the league that averages more rushing yards averages more rushing than passing yards, which I don't think has really anything to say about Lamar. I think more or less the Baltimore Ravens just know who they are and play to their strengths, and that's rushing the football. And if that gets you to 11-5, I don't see a lot of complaining going on. So I like the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson wasn't an MVP type season, but it was nice. Like I said, I think we're at a point where I want to see more passing yards out of him. But he did get a lot better in the red zone this year, and he had a good year for sure.
He's the only quarterback ever in NFL history to have back-to-back 1,000 yards rushing. He just did that.
He's legit.
He did the thing, and he improved so much more on his passing this season. He's been a bit more accurate. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still just hurling that sucker. He's like, "What do you mean I can't hold on to it, coach?" But that is what it is. The Bengals finished their season 4-11-1 with that tie against Philly in the beginning. And, they had a shitty-ass season, but they're really not in a bad spot. I mean, Joe Burrow is figured out. That's going to be the dude there for a while. Now it's just a matter of, can you be successful in the offseason? You got to get pieces around him to protect him. I mean, a throwback again. Remember earlier in the season, we're like, Joey Burrow's great, but he's getting sacked, 12, 13 times a game. That's not sustainable. You have to protect your quarterback. So I think the Bengals would be all right. They obviously need to make some moves on that offensive line, maybe get another weapon or two for Joey Burrow. Shout out T. Higgins. But again, not really that wide receiver one type of dude. The question here for me going forward is, will Lamar Jackson start his career going 0-3 in the playoffs, boy? Yet to get a playoff dub.
There's a possibility. It's definitely something to think about for sure if that does end up being the case. Like I said, I don't know who the matchup is, but I like the Ravens. But that's a big thing. Come playoff time, is that style of play that Lamar Jackson brings to the table good enough to win playoff games? We will see here in a couple days. But it is a good question. It's something big to pay attention to. Next game, though, another team getting in the playoffs is the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And
Duval.
Duval, shout out. But the Colts, I feel like are I don't think people are giving them the praise they deserve. I know 11-5, obviously, and they're in the playoffs. But I feel like they've just had a great season. They have a fantastic offensive line, a fantastic defense, and I think they really figured out the run game with that boy Jonathan Taylor. That dude's just a fucking missile back there, dude, running behind that line. And my only thing with the Colts is, listen, I do like Phillip Rivers. I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. The only thing is just the being able to extend and create plays has never really been there with Phillip Rivers. He's pretty much just been a statue pocket passer his whole life, which isn't the worst thing in the world. He's had a great career playing like that. I just feel like they find themselves in some losing situations, more or less based kind of off that. But with that being said, I don't know. I like the Colts going forward. Like I said, if they can ground and pound and hold shit down on defense, it's a sneaky good football team, I feel like. And on the other side of things, Jacksonville got the number one pick. And I think Jacksonville is going to be the most intriguing head coach job going into this offseason. Like I said, you're going to get Trevor Lawrence. You already have some pretty solid young pieces on the team. And like I said, you're going to have about $100 million worth of cap space that convincing people to come to Florida really isn't already that hard. And two, no state income tax on that contract you signed. So they're going to be all right. Like I said, they can pretty much handpick whatever coach they want. Eric Bieniemy's or the such. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's a very sexy head coach position.
Oh yeah.
And I think that could be a scary quick turnaround for Jacksonville if they handle everything the right way. Like I said, you're going to get your QB of the future, one of the best quarterback prospects we've seen in a very long time. You already got some weapons at receiver. James Robinson, solid running back.
James Robinson had an insane year, free agent.
The other thing is you got 11 draft picks coming up in this draft. 11.
That's
you will be able to build whatever you want.
Like you said, I mean, Keelan Cole and James Robinson have been the two hot spots for this team all year. And they are obviously 1-15, had a shit season, but they were scoring points. There was points in time where it's okay, they're looking all right.
They lost a couple games, they looked really good. And against Green Bay and whatnot.
Yep. Just to the point I made earlier, it's like once you get that QB and both your lines figured out, you're gonna be all right. And that's something they're gonna do in this offseason. Like you said, they have an insane amount of picks. Obviously, they're gonna get Trevor Lawrence as QB. They're bringing in a brand new head coach, possibly Urban Meyer. Been seeing some hubbub there.
Don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But the Jags are going to be all right. And I think you're right. It's going to be 100% quick turnaround. Obviously, a year to develop quarterback. But I don't know, dude. They're going to be all right.
They're going to be all right.
On the other side, the Colts are on a run. And the Colts, obviously, all season have been all or nothing. They're like, we're trying to get a chip here because we know we're blowing it up after this season. Phil Rivers is not going to be there. They're going to be in that bullshit free agent, quarterback move around we're going to see. He's going to be part of that. And he might not even play again, so they're obviously going to need a quarterback. T.Y. Hilton has been that dude this year, but again, they don't really have another solid wide receiver besides him. Like, they're missing some pieces. So they're all or nothing this year. I don't know how far they're going to make it in the playoffs. Obviously, playoff football is playoff football. Some crazy shit can happen. You never know. But I don't know. I don't see the Colts, making it to that divisional championship.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be a good one to watch because this next game we're talking about here, the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. Obviously, the Titans, same record and whatnot. And I don't really know who's a better team between those two, but this is actually a good football game. 41-38, a lot of points going on. And I'll say a couple things here about the Titans. I think they're going to be all right. Like I said, they found who they are. Derrick Henry, dude, is on just some next level shit.
Insane.
Just absolutely
2K
insane.
again this season.
2K. Like I said, I think he's only third or fourth wide receiver or running back to do that. And just was a beast. King Henry, for real. He deserves that nickname. And like I said, the Titans, I think they struggle a little bit with the front seven. Some defensive situations. They haven't looked the best all year, but we'll see what happens going forward. But I want to look at Houston real quick. So we were just talking about Jacksonville. I think the Houston Texans head coach job is also another super attractive position for a head coach. And that is one, Deshaun Watson is locked down for the next 4 or 5 years. He's going to be your quarterback. So that's what you have to work with. And Deshaun Watson, for one, playing hero ball this year and for them having a 4-12 record, played phenomenal. Deshaun Watson is that dude, super good talent. And they'll be all right moving forward. They still got to figure out, JJ Watt came out and has been expressing how he feels about the situation and whatnot kind of all year. And they obviously have a bunch of moves to make, but that's going to be a very good landing spot for anyone just based off the fact that you got Deshaun Watson locked down. And, depending on next year, like we just talked about with the Colts, depending on what they do, if they blow things up and things go south, the Texans can kind of take that spot back over if they want. So, I mean, I don't know. That's my take. I like the Texans going forward.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, the stat I got here for you, this Texans finished the season 4-12. Offense still had 44 touchdowns on the season. And that's without Brandon Fuller. I mean, Deshaun Watson's out there. Will, thank you. Brandon Fuller, dude, shout out.
Shout out, bro.
Shout out to boys back home, dude.
Their finest.
But what was I saying? Yeah, Deshaun Watson, dude, is that dude. They had 44 touchdowns on the season. You see that clip of him apologizing to JJ Watt. Sorry for taking a year off your season, off your career. We suck type of thing.
It's kind of true, though, dude.
No, it is. But they're obviously in a rebuild. They need head coach, GM, replace JJ Watt. They got some pieces to fix this offseason. Titans are hot. It's just going to be if a team can stop Derrick Henry or not. That's really what it comes down to. If you can tackle Derrick Henry, you can beat the Titans.
Yeah, that boy is running train on folk out here, and looking forward to see some King Henry playoff action. With that being said, gonna move on to the next game here. We got the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. And this was kind of an ugly football game.
Yeah.
But I've been kind of saying about week 6 or 7 that I actually really like the Rams, and we'll see what they can do going forward. But yeah, I wasn't really expecting this one. I kind of said early on, I know there's about a 4-week stretch where Arizona stock was an all-time high. They were just a super fun, exciting, electric offense. But I don't know. The way they play and kind of being top heavy as far as their stars go, and not having that depth, I kind of more or less saw this season kind of coming from them. And like I said, they finished 8-8. It wasn't sorry. They had good moments. I think they have something really, really good to build forward. But the past couple weeks, Kyler Murray looks like he's been playing hurt.
Yeah.
And Chandler Jones been out, and just I don't know, kind of is what it is. Cliff Kingsbury, I'm not sure if he's quite the guy there in Phoenix and whatnot. But on the other side of things, I still like Los Angeles. Like I said, this is a team they got to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So if they get into the playoffs, maybe they can hit that switch. They got veterans on that team. Like I said, I trust their defense. Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are going to make plays for you. So I feel like the Rams are another team for me that I'm wiping the slate clean, and they get in the playoffs. We might see another gear or something get, switched with Sean McVay and the boys. But I don't know. This was kind of just an ugly football game. I didn't really think it was going to end up like this. But
yeah, I mean, week 17, we saw a lot of good games, a lot of high-scoring games, and this was honestly probably one of the worst ones that was televised that we saw. So I don't really got much here. I mean, obviously the Rams played without Goff. They were in there with John Wolford, who got 231, 1 interception, 6 carries for 56 rushing yards. Like, all right, dude. Like, shout out him, get him a little backup action there. But most likely going to have Goff going into the playoffs here. And we'll see. They finished the season 10-6, and honestly probably should have lost only 2 of those games. So I don't know. There's another one of those teams. You don't know what's going to happen in the NFL playoffs,
baby. Moving on to the next game, though, another team that could potentially run up this rang on them is the New Orleans Saints, smacking up the Carolina Panthers. And, pound for pound, the Saints might have maybe the best overall roster in the league, dude. They just got weapons, good defense, might be the best defense in the league. I mean, that's another thing, dude. Drew Brees, Sean Payton in the playoffs, you're kind of just dealing with a different animal, a tandem that's been together for 10, 11 years and has had great success. And it just kind of is what it is, man. That boy, little Jordan Humphrey out here, dude. Your name's a little Jordan, like you a baller, bro. So it's crazy name, brother. But the Saints gonna be all right, man. The Saints, that's an NFC championship right there.
For sure. I mean, they're all right. It's going to be hard-fought games on the NFC side against the Saints, no matter who it is. They're going to go out there. They're going to try to do their thing. They're going to ball out. So I don't know. They're a playoff contention big time for sure.
Big time. Like I said, great roster. Drew Brees, it's just, he's going to be able, like I said, one of them teams that just going to hit that switch. I got a lot of trust in them. And then obviously Taysom Hill kind of having his, I wouldn't say a breakout year at all, but just more potentially realizing that this dude is a weapon and you can do a plethora vocabulary of things with him that can score some points for your team. And then, on the other side of the ball here, look at Carolina for a second. I think Carolina is going to be all right this coming up. I think they do go for a quarterback in this draft.
Yeah.
Or a move in general. Like I said, I don't think Teddy Bridgewater isn't the guy. He's just a guy. I think he's all right. He's serviceable. And like I said, they had a weird season, Christian McCaffrey being out. I obviously know that hurts and whatnot. But I just think young defense, that you figure out the quarterback spot, you get a full healthy year, Christian McCaffrey. And like I said, second year head coach there with the fuck is that dude's name? Can't remember. But Panthers maybe turn it around here in a year or two. That could be a competent football team. But Saints, man, I would, they might fuck around and get a chip, son.
I think they're in the conversation for sure. I mean, for me, it's going to be them or the Packers on the NFC side. So we'll see.
We shall see. Speaking of the Packers, next game here is the Green Bay Packers putting a womp stomp bizomp on the Chicago Bears, who Chicago snuck himself still into the playoffs with an 8-8 record. But I just want to talk about Green Bay for a second. Boy, that boy Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers won an MVP in 2011, throwing 45 touchdowns and 6 picks. The man has 48-5 this year, leads the league in QBR percentage. Just an absolute baller of a season.
Throwing more touchdowns than punt attempts.
Yeah, shout out J.K. Scott. It's super impressive. Like I said, dude's like 37 years old, and it's just awesome to see. I think the whole reason, the fuel to this fire was them going ahead and getting Jordan Love in the draft, and that probably just hit a spark or something with Aaron Rodgers and just went out there and absolutely fried kids up. And so, I got to give a lot of respect to Devontae Adams, who clearly held it down and is a great weapon to have Aaron Rodgers with. And they had a good offense. I mean, Aaron Rodgers in a way could kind of make any receiver look pretty good, but Devontae Adams is that dude. But yeah, just an incredible season. And like I said, they literally came off last year making it to the NFC Championship. And so that's kind of the same path. They're 13-3. And I feel like they can be right back in that position this year. This was a great team. Like I said, a Green Bay Saints matchup. I'm not even going to front. I do kind of like the Saints a little bit more.
In the Lambeau.
Right now. Yeah, I like the Saints a little bit more. I just think pound for pound, it's a better roster, 1 through 53. And we'll see what happens. But at the same time, I mean, the Packers are that dude. I don't want to take anything away from the Packers. I just like the Saints a little bit more. Packers are a great football team. Like I said, that Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur. But yeah, they're great. Aaron Jones has been great. They can beat you in a lot of ways. Man, it's just a good football team, dude. I got to give all the respect to Aaron Rodgers, dude. Discount double check. Dude's a legend. 48 tutties to 5 picks. Like, that's incredible. Dude has the greatest touchdown to pick ratio we've ever seen. Just they do not. The two things I like about Green Bay is, A, they don't give up the ball. Big part of that is Aaron Rodgers. And 2, they're the least penalized team in the league. So if you want to beat the Packers, you got to beat them straight up. They're really not going to give you any freebies. So that's why I do like them going forward. But they might get that chip too, dude. It's going to be right there. They're going to be right there. This might be Aaron Rodgers' year, bro, to just run up that chip on him.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we'll just keep it on moving here. Next up, we had the Chargers versus the Chiefs' second fucking team. Chargers end up getting the dub here, 38-21. And obviously the Chargers are in a good spot here. I mean, they went 7-9 this year with a rookie quarterback. I mean, Justin Herbert is an absolute stud, dude. I mean, you get the right head coach in there next year. I think that offense is going to change to tailor him even more. I wouldn't be surprised seeing them be a playoff team, in the near future. Maybe not next year, but year after. I mean, they're in a great spot with their rookie quarterback here. And on the other side, the Chiefs are obviously, the best team in football. And they really showed their depth during this game. I mean, they only put up 21 points, but they had Chad Henne out there, Darwin Thompson, DeMarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle out there jumping people off, dude. It's
Pringle.
They're out there 14-2 for a reason.
For sure.
Like, they're a great fucking football team. And like we said, we saw the second the runner up in every spot, every backup played during this game. Like, let's get some reps, let's get everyone out there, and like it was still a good game, bro.
Yeah, no, they still held it down. That's just good coaching at that point. And talk about Chargers for a second. For sure, that's another one. I think that they're kind of in the same spot with Houston. I actually like the Chargers going further over that because I could potentially see, just because we're talking about the Chiefs, that boy Eric Bieniemy potentially going to the Chargers, because I think Justin Herbert would be a great quarterback for him to work with, and he knows kind of everything about the Kansas City Chiefs and how they operate. So that could be a big selling point for them. And like I said, I think it's gonna be all right. You still got a dude named Bosa on the team. Joey Bosa is great. If Derwin James could stay healthy, he's one of the best safeties in the league. You got Keenan Allen, you got Mike Williams, you got some weapons. And so to go, and because you already have a year of footage on Justin Herbert, NFL ready, that's not like a Jacksonville or a Jets or a team that's going to draft a quarterback to where you're kind of just taking a shot on the quarterback. You just saw a year of Justin Herbert playing amazing football as a rookie quarterback. And so that's going to be a very, very enticing job. But then I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, dude. I'm not selling nothing. I'm still with them. I think that's the Super Bowl winner right there. They get it done. Like you said, for them to be starting virtually all their backups and make it a competitive sort of game, I think that's impressive. And so, like I said, I think they were running that home. I'm not worried about the AFC. I think the Chiefs hold it down. We're just kind of looking at the other side of things, but that's kind of my whole take on that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah. So we will go ahead and move it on, brother.
Moving on over.
We got the Seahawks versus the 49ers. Seahawks get the dub, close one, 26-23 here. I mean, honestly, fuck this game. Let's just talk about the whole season as a whole for this. I mean, nothing really happened here. On San Francisco side, they had to deal with so much bullshit this season, and they still went 6-10. Their injury list was probably one of the worst we've ever seen. They've had crazy COVID rules. They had to move stadiums into Arizona, just all this bullshit. Everything to affect them off the field did. And they still went 6-10. So good for them there. But Nicky Mullins, CJ Beathard, they're both good backups, but I don't think either of them are starters. I think they're one of the teams here in a QB hunt.
I think they move off Jimmy G 100%. I think you have to.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he just can't stay healthy. I mean, they are once removed from the Super Bowl. They showed that when they are healthy, they can be an insane team. I mean, George Kittle didn't play most of it. They didn't have Debo most of the time. Brandon Ayuk was injured. Jimmy G was injured. And then the list goes on for their defense as well. So, I mean, they just honestly need to get healthy to get better. And then I think that quarterback needs to get figured out as well. Seahawks going down into this playoff run for them. I don't think the problem is going to be their offense, and it hasn't been all season. It's just, can they withstand the other team? They have to tighten up on defense and stop allowing so many points. I mean, Seattle's deep threat is, probably top 3 in the league. Like, they're almost unmatched rush deep ball going to Metcalf or Lockett or Moore, whoever. Like,
my only thing with Seattle is, I think, because the opposite of what we were talking about with Tampa, they kind of got cold, I think, at the wrong time. They are last in the league in passing over the past 4 weeks. And like I said, they're sitting here at a 12-4 record. So they had a phenomenal regular season. Just, we're going to get into rushing. I just think they kind of got cold at the worst time. I just match up. Listen, Seattle's a great team. They're going to do good. But I start looking at the Saints and the Packers, potentially even the Rams, dude. I feel like the Rams are a hard matchup for the Seattle Seahawks. And I actually think the Rams get that upset there, but I just don't think they're better than those teams right now. Like I said, just kind of a mess of a season. Like I said, the DK Russ matchup is phenomenal, but they've struggled all year with the rushing, and the defense has been way too.
That's the thing. When they can establish that rush game with Carlos Hyde and what's the other boy?
Carson.
Yep, exactly. And they're both like that big body back. But they just have trouble staying hot. You know what I mean? You'll see a couple good flashes, but if they can establish a run game, that offense is set. And like I said, I really think it just comes down to their defense. Like they gotta prevent points, and they're just not doing that.
Not doing it. So that being said, I think Seattle, I don't know. Like I said, Seattle's gonna have the Rams in this playoff matchup. I think the Rams low-key sneak that out, but that's definitely a game.
So I believe Goff actually will be out for that game. So I don't know. That throws a wrench into that.
That's different. That's definitely, I gotta think about it now. Shit. I don't know. So we're just gonna move forward. Raiders beat the Broncos 32-31.
Just one quick thing here. I mean, besides Joshua Jacobs, what the fuck do the Raiders have going for them? Both these teams kind of need to figure out their QB situation. Darren Waller, you're right, he's a beast, but I'm not gonna lie, dude. I think John Gruden should not coach there anymore. Another 8-8 season, like just not playing well, dude. I mean, they start off so hot every year, get 6 wins in, and then they're like, all right, that was a good year.
So my thing, it is only his 3rd year coaching, and it has been a better record each year. So that's why I say, if you look at it, bro, like this team is really, really young. And they have been on some sort of a trajectory. I just think the reason we've been seeing, and I'm not trying to defend the Raiders or anything like that too crazy, but the reason we see them start so hot and end so bad is because a lot of those players on the team are young. And so, I mean, coaching is a big part of that too. I don't think the Gruden thing's the worst take in the world at all. And obviously, Derek Carr's been one of those guys. He proves he can be a top 10 quarterback, but he also proves he can be a bottom 10 quarterback sometimes. And I look at the Broncos side of things in the past 3-4 weeks. That boy Drew Lock has been kind of shutting up my shit talking. And I actually think they run it back a year with him. I think they should. I think he gets another shot. They keep everything the same, just to see what he can do. But I don't really give a fuck about this game right here, dog. So we're going to have to move on. I'm going to give a take here about the Philadelphia Eagles and that Washington football team. And I'll give you the floor here in a second. So my thing, I want to say big ups to Washington, first of all. Everything that happened over the offseason, obviously things started with the name change, this and that. And a lot of stuff was going on with the owner, Dan Snyder, having this kind of crazy offseason. And then bring Ron Rivera in as a head coach. Man was going through, dude had some cancer or something. His thyroids are not that. Was getting chemo on the sideline. Was really pushing through a lot, especially in the this whole COVID situation where he was super receptive to basically anything, if anything would have gotten his way. And, there is some takeaways I feel like from this Washington football team this year. Is obviously, like I said, I think that's probably the best front seven in all of football. They're going to be good for a while. Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, DeJuan Payne, like a lot of these guys are first round draft picks in consecutive years. So I think they're good in that department. Obviously, we saw shit go down with that boy Dwayne Haskins getting cut on his day off for just fucking around, dude. Literally, Jamarcus Russell 2.0. Like, you will just probably never get another shot like that again, dude.
Dewey Haskins, dude, couldn't stay out of the strip club.
Dewey Haskins, bro. And then obviously we talked earlier about how great of a story things are with Alex Smith and whatnot, seeing him go out there. So Washington does still have to figure things out. They were able to take advantage, though, of a terrible division, and now they're sitting on top. But so let me give my take here on the other side. My boys' team, the Philadelphia Eagles, before we let him rant it up a little bit. Here's my thing with the Eagles. Obviously, that was the big story from this game is what the fuck was Doug Peterson doing, bringing Nate Sudfeld into the game, and at that point, a very winnable game still, and just decided to yank Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld. And I think that little moment right there has just been a reflection of Philadelphia's season as a whole. It's low-key just been a dumpster fire. And I've been saying before, and I still say it, I think these guys 3 years ago when they won that Super Bowl just had a great time, got fucked up, and have been hung over for the past 3 years, dude. It's just low-key been kind of a mess. And the biggest thing this year with Philly has been, the quarterback stuff. I'm getting a lot of Phillies fans' opinions on things, and a lot of people say it's the GM. A lot of people say it's Dougie P. A lot of people say it's the quarterback, and it's all right to a degree. Like you've said, if Carson Wentz, it's not the worst thing in the world for a quarterback to have one bad year, and I feel like we got that from everybody. My only thing is I've read stuff to where now the relationship with Dougie P and Carson Wentz is completely burned to the ground, and I've even kind of heard things that Doug Peterson isn't necessarily sold all the way on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was a Howie Roseman move. And obviously the past 4 weeks, Jalen Hurts did show some flashes and the spark that they were hoping for, and they looked competitive and whatnot. So, I don't know if Philly does going forward. They have no cap space going into there. They have this quarterback controversy. Dougie P made some questionable things happen. So, I mean, what do you do with all these guys that were on this team 3-4 years ago that had these huge contracts? I really think, dude, I just think some Eagles fans got to just look at the reality of things and be like, I don't think this current situation is fixable in a year. We need to just scrap this whole thing, whether it's from the GM all the way down to Jason Kelsey, dude. It doesn't matter. Scrap it up. We just got to start fresh. I don't think it's ever. I don't know. The biggest thing, obviously, is this quarterback controversy. What do you do with Carson Wentz? If you trade him, that's huge money. But do you buy all the way into Jalen Hurts? And what the fuck was Nate Sudfeld doing on a football field on Sunday? I'm just not quite sure. I don't know. Give me what you got, dude. I don't know. It's bonkers, bro. It's a mess. Okay. It's a
first
disaster.
Things first, dude. We'll just give our props to Washington. All right, finish the season 7-9. Have faced an insane amount of controversy at their QB position, and that D line really carried them through all the way to the playoffs. Even though 7-9 is playoffs and NFC East, so shout out them. NFC East. But, dude, we got to talk about the New York Giants. And before we talk about them, we got to pop on one of these boys real quick. Bro. All right. We got the boy, Jake Elliott, out of here. All right. We'll talk about loyalty. Okay. But now, all right, let's talk about this Sunday night game 256, last game of the regular season. We all knew Philly was going to lose. All right. Like, let's just start out there. Like, we knew this was not going to go.
It was winnable. Philly. It was winnable.
Shut the fuck up, all right? Who cares? It's a wash at that point. They could have been up 25 points, put Nate Sudfeld in. Let's lose this game. What do you want to win this game for? Literally, what do you want to win this game for? I mean, all these Giants fans who, by the way, are probably the worst fans. They're the most underrated worst fans in the National Football League. They are so shitty, dude. Imagine finishing your season 6-10 and then causing all this rah-rah, talk about how the Eagles screwed us over. We want an investigation for tanking. It's such a disgrace. First of all, dude, I just want to say, suck my dick, okay? Last time I checked, we have beef with y'all since the 1950s. So right here, buddy, all right? Like, literally. And as far as the tanking argument goes, why would they not do the same thing? What did we just witness all season with the Jets and the Jaguars? They can tank all season, but we tank 2 quarters of a game with Nate Sudfeld and we're going to get investigated? Like, what are you talking about? Do you hear yourself? And then literally, let's go back to 2017 New York when y'all benched Eli Manning for Geno Smith after going 1-8, and you got the 2nd pick in the draft to get Saquon. We're just not going to talk about that.
Facts.
Like, y'all went 6-10 talking about how the Eagles ruined our season. Like, listen, the Eagles had a rough season too. I'm not saying they had a good season. The Giants did better than the Eagles this season. I'll say that. But for them to throw such a hissy fit in the media talking about it's their fault, like, eat some fucking brown eye. What you talking about? You're literally 6-10. Like, Fletcher Cox out here tweeting like to Eli Manning, suck my dick, bro. I love it. You know, it's just it's despicable what these fans think they're owed because they're from New York. And what's up with all these people from Jersey, like in the Giants? Like, that's not even your state.
That's
like,
where they play.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, like right here, buddy.
That's
Like,
where they play.
Here, dude. You're a New York Giants fan, dude. I don't want to hear it.
No, I mean, I agree about the fans. They are terrible, dude. They're right up there with Cowboys and Yankees fans. It's kind of disgusting, dude. I don't know, dude. This is
slimiest, the slimiest people ever, dude. And I'm telling you, if this was not, voice crack right there. If this was not Sunday night primetime last game of the season, all this media never happens, dude.
No, it's facts.
And it's like, oh my
It's a 1
God,
p.m. game.
Dude, everyone that's ever said anything good about the Giants organization had a hot take about how Philly is despicable.
I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Philly fans also kind of loud and obnoxious too.
For sure, but we don't deny it, dude. We don't blame. We're accountable for going 4-11-1. We can say we had a bad season. We're not talking about the Philly. They didn't let us go to the playoffs. Like, y'all didn't go to the playoffs because you're trash.
All right, so I got 2 questions here for you before we end this. John, is Carson Wentz the quarterback next year?
Honestly, no. I don't think so. I think he has that huge contract cap space issue. But when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL, they're going to figure it out. If someone wants Carson Wentz, they're going to figure it out. They're going to go and get him. And we've said multiple times before this year and on this show that we are going to see a quarterback frenzy we have never seen before. And, you know, just because in his 5th year, Carson Wentz really did have a stinker season. He played pretty shit. Only second to Daniel Dimes' turnover ratio, by the way. He did worse. Not talking about that. But Carson Wentz is going to go somewhere. And I don't actually think Philly's all the way sold on Jalen Hurts either. I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a QB in the 6th round of this draft. And that is not a smart move to make from the organizational standpoint. We need a lineman. We need a wide receiver 1. We need help in the secondary. But just saying, I would not be surprised to see Howie Roseman go out and get another quarterback this offseason.
Does Doug Peterson stay?
Yeah, he's confirmed going to stay. And, you know, I think run it back with Doug. I think let's get him a good offensive coordinator in there. And let's actually give this offense some pieces. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, it does need to be blown up to a certain point. You're right. I think Zach Ertz is gone. That's a huge contract, huge player, huge asset that we're going to lose. I mean, a lot of Philly's offensive success is through the tight end position. I mean, you see that with Dallas Goedert.
You got to bite the bullet. You're gonna have to pay.
That's
Philly
what I'm saying. So yeah, he's gonna go probably, but I don't know. The quarterback situation is obviously going to be, you know, primetime media. We're gonna see what happens.
Well, you said I think someone for sure picks up Carson Wentz. I think he's gone. And then, like I say, shit, if Dougie P likes Nate Sudfeld so much, dude, they might try to run it with him next year or something. But, like I said, you never know, bro. He put him in for a reason. They obviously see something. That he's a big Nate Sudfeld.
Listen,
The only thing I think
Dougie
with
Peterson
Dougie P
lost
and Jalen
that
Hurts,
game. He lost that game in the pre-media, interviews earlier in that week. And he knew this situation was going to arise. He said, we are going to give Nate Sudfeld some meaningful reps. The fuck do you think that means before you go into a game? Okay. Like everyone's like, oh, we can't believe he did that. They could have won. Like for what? To get a higher draft pick?
I was gonna
Like,
say they went from like
outta
11
here,
to 7. Like, what are you gonna?
Jalen Hurts shouldn't have played a snap. Protect him.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it from that angle. I don't know, dude. That's going to be the most intriguing offseason me, or one of them, dude. Just see what Philadelphia does, and someone's got to come out on top of this trash ass division. And I think Philly had the best roster going in, and they just weren't able to take advantage of the rest of the teams in this division being absolute dog shit. So I don't know, dude. I can tell you're hot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go take a little cool off. You want to stay tuned. Next 5-10 minutes, we got the after hour coming up. But that is the meat pack in the building. We back, son. It's gonna be a beautiful 2021. Got a lot of basketball coming up. We're gonna talk about. Got playoff football. Obviously, we're gonna talk about. I got some fights coming up here soon. We're gonna fucking get on about. I would have dropped homeboy right there. So with that being said, your boys, we out of here. Get the fuck out of this bitch.